Happy Saturday storytelling. This is Karen with Shrooms and Shrugs, and I guess I'm just going to bite the bullet and get on to Once Upon a Time, Not Long Ago, I Was a Garden Utensil, Part 2. This particular phase of my life was not an easy one. It's something I'm deeply, deeply ashamed of and am still trying to work through in therapy. And, well, we're getting there. It's hard. This was a time in my life where I was just self-medicating and I was drinking and I was having sex and I didn't care who the person was. I mean, to an extent. Of course, there was a lot of multiple party excursions, if you get my meaning. There was a lot of experimentation. There was a lot of drinking involved during these times. A lot of things you read in a penthouse, like, oh, I had twins, and I had all that. Yeah. But I mean, I had so many guys that I started considering myself bad luck because 3 of them are dead now. And it was shortly after we got together. 2 by suicide and 1 by a car accident on East Riverside. Yeah. God. This is hard. This is so hard to talk about. I hated myself. I hated being lonely. I hated feeling unloved. I hated the fact that I was ignored in high school. I hated the fact that I just seemed to be wanted when I was the fun, drunk party girl who was willing to open her mouth or spread her legs. Sorry to be so graphic, but yeah. But I'm going to tell the worst thing I did. And there was a lot of bad things during this college year 20-something slut phase. In my defense, at the time, I did not know. And when I found out the next day, I honestly didn't care. I care now. I feel extremely ashamed for what I've done now. And you would think I'd be more ashamed of sleeping with my aunt's sister's fiance. But I couldn't stand that witch, so I'm ashamed of it again. I'm ashamed of it now. I wasn't then. I went with another friend. I can't even remember her name now. I just remember how pretty she was. She was a curvy, thick girl with long blonde hair, curly, and she worked with me at Cumberland Farms. And I did a lot of my little excursions with her. I used to do a lot with her. And a couple of guys. One of them I'm still friends with, and he'll still hit me up from time to time when he thinks I'm single. He leaves me alone when I'm in a relationship. So I give him respect for that. I don't really have any respect for him knowing that he's hanging on to our friendship because he's hoping I'm going to be single again someday. And as far as I know, that man's still married. Anyway. We went to this little mini get-together party. We just knew a bunch of guys were hanging out, and we knew we could get drunk and we could get laid. And one of the worst things about this period of my life is I disassociated so hard. I had a small child. I don't even remember who was watching. I know she was with my grandparents, but I would just, I don't even remember if I asked for permission, if I just took off after work. I don't remember. I disassociated that freaking hard. Awful. Anyway, so we go to this get together. And we're hanging out, and we're laughing, and we're drinking, and we're flirting, and we're kissing, and we're touching, and this one guy, I don't even remember his name. I barely remember what he looked like. I remember where he lived on Route 9 in Lake Luzerne, and that's about the extent of it. I remember we were in like a garage type thing. Anyway, I remember being there. I had a best friend named Andy in school, and I remember being there with his brother and somebody else, and somebody else, and somebody else. And out of all of those guys, I slept with one of them. I can't remember who. The only reason that it traumatizes me to this day is I found out the next day he was getting married. That morning. I was his last wild fling before he got married, and I had no clue. And there was that hit of guilt. It didn't last long. Then came this ugly, despicable side of myself that I didn't even know existed. I felt pride. I felt like, oh, I'm his last fling. I'm who he wanted to be with when he had so-and-so and so-and-so there. He picked me. How fucking disgusting is that? How messed up in my head was I? I mean, clearly messed up because, again, I disassociated my life so hard at times. Like, I can't give these wildly detailed Anne Rice, Stephen King type detailed stories at times because I disassociate so hard because I don't want to be there. The good me, the part of me that is a good person who's just hurting, sees this other person like, oh, I can fix it. I can make it better. Let me do all these crazy things to get us love, to get us attention. And it makes the good part of me feel like shit. And with all the work and therapy that I've done, telling these stories is hard. But I want some accountability for the things I've done. And to those that I've hurt in my past, I'm so sorry. It was never intentional. It was never anything personal. It was just a broken girl looking for some form of validation in all the wrong ways. Looking for some sort of healing in the bottom of a bottle. And that did nothing. Absolutely nothing for me. So again, everyone goes through phases. Everyone goes through these wild and crazy, I want to try things, but just be careful. Try to live and do things not only your own way, but in a good way. Don't try to hurt yourself, hurt others by doing things that feel good in the moment that you know you're going to regret later. You're definitely going to regret later. And you're going to be paying out the wazoo in therapy to work on yourself, to fix yourself. It's better just to get the help when you can. And I am not slut-shaming anyone. I was a garden utensil. I was a hoe. And just reach out. Reach out to someone who can help you. Reach out to someone who will be there. I mean, if you just really love sex and you're just feeling yourself and exploring yourself and having a good time and you're being safe and you're being smart, let your freak flag fly. But if you're doing things because of the way you feel, if you're doing them the way I was doing them, where it was some sort of sick way to punish yourself or get validation or all the different things that I used it for, don't be like me. Get the help where you need it, and then that way you can have a healthy relationship with sex, and it won't be punishing you and your partner years later. Because God knows my partner has had to deal with a lot because of my sexual dysfunction that I had put upon myself. But anyway, there's still a part 3. But at least in part 3, when I was going through my separation from my husband, and I was getting into the culinary world, I was a hoe for, the right reasons. Ish. I wasn't doing it as a punishment. I literally was exploring my sexual side and trying to find sex in a healthy way. And it just happened to be with a bunch of people I worked with in restaurants. And, some people I've met on Tinder. And some of these people are still good friends. Because I had learned to separate certain things. Like, I would go into a certain situation fully expecting it to be, okay, you're just when I have needs that need to be met, and that's it. And those people ended up becoming good friends, and we stopped with the sexual part of our relationship because we realized there was more to us than that. But we weren't quite relationship material. And then there was one, the man I'm still with now. He was supposed to be just a one on the roster. And he ended up becoming my life partner. So there's at least going to be a good happy ending-ish to when we get to part 3. So you have that to look forward to. In the meantime, I'm going to say good night for now. And I will see you next week. Bye.